How am I going to get Polyvinyl to hire me? How am I going to get Barsuk and Merge to hire me, and Drive Through Records and Hopeless and all these labels at the time? If I don't have a marquee video, I can say I actually promoted. And that Johnny Cash Hurt video was that video.
Welcome back to the Solo Musician Podcast. I'm your host, Dave Gates, and this week I had the pleasure of sitting down with owner and president of Hip Video Promo, Andy Gesner. We talked about the challenges of promoting your original music in a world where people's attention spans are growing shorter by the second, as well as a million other things. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Let's get into my chat with Andy. So what is that shirt you just put on? Who is that?
It is a fabulously talented violinist. Her name is Susan Aquila.
Okay.
And she is a current client. Her new video, she plays Van Halen's Eruption on the violin.
Wow. That's incredible.
And she's played with everybody. So it's, I mean, literally everyone from Paul McCartney, Elton John. She just got off a European tour with Joe Jackson. So
wow,
like so many people who are side folks, they have their own original thing going too. So
sure, absolutely.
Okay, I have a drink. It isn't beer.
Okay. So tell me about Hip Video Promo.
Okay, well, in the year 2000, after 20 years of being a bass player in rock and roll, I realized that I had very few choices. When your bandmates go on to become doctors of English, or they have new opportunities and they move to a new city far away from New Jersey. I had to figure out, Dave, how I could stay on the playing field. And I realized that probably the best thing for me, you know, the old saying, if you can't do,
teach.
Yeah. So I figured with 20 years of not breaking through and getting past the pain point and being able to do music and nothing else, I got the download from above. It's like, look, you have so much wisdom and experience. Why don't you help your fellow musical kindred spirits? So I checked in with a dear friend. And what he said to me, Dave, I wasn't expecting. He said, you know, Andy, this new thing, the World Wide Web. I'm like, yeah, you know, you've got mail, right? It's only going to be a matter of time before the entire human family will be able to watch music videos on their computer.
Right. Yeah. What a revolution.
I thought, well, how can you be so sure of that? He said, no. It's only going to be a matter of time before we'll be able to watch music videos on our computer. We weren't even thinking on our phone or on an iPad or, dare I say, on a watch. So I did a little investigating and I came to realize, yes, there are such things as music video promoters, which to most talented creatives, folks who tune in to listen to you and your guests, they have no idea that people like Andy at Hip Video Promo exist. They figure, okay, well, we'll just make a video and we'll put it up on YouTube. But there's so many more opportunities. When I think of all the hundreds of clients that have gotten the love at MTV or BET, when you're able to attach your hard-earned brand to an iconic international brand like those two, whether it be MTV or BET, that gives any artist immediate credibility. So if you're going to make a video, if you're going to go, you might as well go big. And so when we began, that was one of our main targets because it was all about the television channels and they were all over the country and the content providers. It's no surprise, as someone who goes to the fitness center, you've got music videos to look at.
Mm.
If you go to the shopping mall, you see them playing. You look into Foot Locker, you look into Journeys, you look into Hot Topic, or even if you go in and shop, you're going to see music videos. Or you take your significant other on a cruise, they're on the cruise ship. Or you go for the Friday night bowling special and they have the music video blocks playing, or you're at a nightclub. So, since those early double zeros, we have always been ahead trying to figure out what's coming next. And the minute the websites and blogs showed up, we were there. Hello, Pitchfork. Hello, Stereo Gum. Hello, Ear Milk. We're here. We have videos. And if you've ever looked at our client list, the biggest thrill I get is being with people right on the ground floor and watching them break through and do the things that I always was hoping I could do. But as you well know, Dave, this is a very difficult business to break through in. So now that we're in a situation where people actually listen with their eyes, you really want to figure out how you can get the biggest exposure for your latest music video. Certainly at that point, it was insane. Everybody was looking for new ways to get the videos exposed. So once we were aware of Roku, the way it was pitched to me, it's like you get your visuals delivered via the internet. I'm like, really?
That's a good
I guess
description.
that means international exposure.
Yeah.
So I was the first guy on my block to have a Roku box. And since then, it has proliferated. I mean, if you've got Amazon Fire TV, Google Chromecast, and Apple TV, all investing billions of dollars into this new technology. Last time I checked, those are the three biggest corporations in this world currently torn asunder. And since then, there's been Sling and Pluto and countless others. So now our clients, when we're promoting a video, we're able to get them the kind of international exposure they're hoping for and that they deserve by having great relationships with the OTT outlets. Like I said, if you've got a great video, you want it to be served up to as many potential new fans as possible. So having all of that in one 10-week marketing campaign, including pitching to YouTube playlist curators. Yes, these are playlists. They are the poor man's Spotify. You want to listen to kick-ass metal. So you type in kick-ass metal, and there are the Dead Daisies with their new video. Or you want to listen to terrific EDM. And right there, you've got your super high. And so the whole idea here is that the video does move the needle the most, because now more than ever, people want to see who it is, along as hear what it is. It's like one of the reasons you go to a news site, there's never just a news story. There's always a video attached.
Mm-hmm.
And we live in such a video-centric world now that you've really got to figure out how to get the best results with your visual content. So with every campaign, we do help our clients with social media marketing. And it's important because artists, as you well know, they're really, really good at the songcraft. They are quite often really good at working their local community, getting the gigs, artwork. But when it comes to the marketing, man, if it's dressed in overalls and looks like work,
Yeah.
man, they don't want to do it.
No.
So that's where my team and I come in. And it's been 24 years. It'll be 25 years this October 26th. We're currently at about 4,890 music videos promoted. So at some point this year, we're likely to go over 5,000. And I made the best friends a guy could ever ask for. And in many cases, they're people who have had such incredible success. I was 2002 and Virgin had this new band, 30 Seconds to Mars. They were not that hopeful because we all know when a famous actor fronts a rock band,
Mm-hmm.
can anyone say dog star? I
Yeah,
mean,
right.
yeah, it usually ends poorly. So I was not that familiar with Jared, but went to the Mercury Lounge in New York. There he was. He's like, come on the bus. It's like, how many bands on their first tour have a big ass tour bus playing a Jared did?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, yes, there they were. They were playing, and there were maybe 50, 60 people there. Afterwards, he kind of confided. He's like, yeah, I realize people know me more for my acting chops, but I really want to break through into the music. I'm like, go for it, man. Nobody's stopping you. It's like, you really got to come to Philly tomorrow and see us at the Khyber Pass. I'm like, wow, the Khyber Pass. I mean, talk about a hole in the wall right there. But from small acorns, big oak trees grow. I remember we went to interview Paramore on their first tour. Female lead singer, 17. Waiting for the interview to happen. The bass player comes out. He's looking kind of like something's not right. And he came over and he said, I just want to alert you. I'm thinking, here it comes. No interview. Haley's voice, this tour has really, really done a number on her voice. At that point, I'm like, no interview, no interview. And he kind of leans, he says, if you guys are okay with Haley speaking maybe just a little bit softer than her speaking voice, she'll be out to do the interview with us in like 5 minutes. I smiled. I'm like, no, that's fine. That's fine. She can speak as softly as she wants. We'll turn the volume up. And they came out. And just that moment, I'm like, no, this band is going to break through. Because that's the kind of fortitude you need to get to the next level in this industry. Getting to work with Maroon 5 on their first video, Sia, 2007. Can't believe it. And then it's 2012, the Lumineers, they've got this new song. I send it around. People are like, man, this song is kind of hokey and cheesy. I don't know if we can support it. I'm like, no, all good. Everybody's got their opinion. You've got yours. We accept it. But that Ho Hey song was a perfect example of how, the decision makers and the gatekeepers, Dave, they don't always get it right. I mean, you present the musical art to the public. And as you well know, in the end, the public decides.
Oh, yeah.
And that song was, and still is, such an instant earworm that this new band that had barely made a peep on the music industry landscape, there they were at the Grammys in January of 2013. Go figure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and it's, I'd imagine a lot of that is due to people like yourself that are able to promote and get that in front of other people because just like you say, I mean, in today's day and age, especially, there's so much content out there. Like literally, you just, if you don't lay eyes on something, there's a good chance that nobody's ever going to introduce you to things. In most cases, like most of my friends listen to the radio or they listen to just popular music. So it's like the music that I like, most of them are never going to recommend it to me. But my friend that it books bands in Philly, he gives me people all the time. He's like, you got to check these people out. Check these people out. So it's always, you're a conduit that helps introduce new music or music that you believe in to other people. Do you ever promote anything that you don't believe in? Is that a question?
It is a question. I have to do right by the big guy. And the big guy's been very clear. It's like you can't be like the shit merchants in this world you work in.
Mm,
The music industry is full of them.
mm,
These are the folks that will take on anything.
mm. Yeah.
Anything. They have no interest in whether or not what they're going to be marketing is a great first impression. Why would they care? All they're in it for is the money.
Mm,
What I'm in it for is to get more feathers in my United States Marine Corps utility cap. That's my biggest joy, is to know that I was there right in the beginning when no one wanted to give them the attention and exposure they deserve. And we helped them get past that point where it's like a snowball rolling down a hill. If you can start to get some momentum, it'll just continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. Justina Valentine, 12 years ago, she was being told, hey, you're not in the right musical lane. There's not a lot of white women in the urban hip hop world. And the fact that people were telling her that she couldn't do it
mm.
made her want to do it all the more. And yes, it took some years and it took a while, but you got to make your own breaks happen. And obviously her big break happened when she was cast to be a regular member of MTV's Wild and Out.
Yeah.
And that just launched her career. And so just to know that you've got to find people who will believe in your talents when you're first starting out. But if you have limited talent and your video is a dud, no. Why would I take someone's money? Because A, if I were to promote the dud, what happens when that artist goes back to the drawing board, ditches the lame ass video director and gets a really good one, shoots an awesome video, fully realized, wonderfully crafted, and I decide to promote it? Well, the decision makers and gatekeepers are going to remember the dud.
Yeah.
And chances are they might not even look at it. They'll be like, oh, I remember that. This is going to be terrible. I'm not even going to watch it. So it is true. You do not get a second chance to make a first impression. So though we've promoted 4,800 music videos, yes, Dave, I have probably said no to over 10,000. And it should be noted that for every 10 artists I have to say that to, 9 are very appreciative. They're like, wow, I know you took it to your team. Everybody watched it. But I had a sneaking suspicion too that this might not be the best visual to lead with. And I'm thinking in my head, yeah, you think so? Yeah. But, and then they'll tell you the story about how the videographer was a total and complete jackass.
Yeah.
And that he was all talk, no walk. He made all kinds of promises he didn't deliver on. He ended up being a tyrannical dictator. It was either his way or the highway. I had some great ideas for the video and he completely shut everyone down. Yeah, it was not a good experience. And I'm actually relieved that you've told me you're not going to promote this video, because I'm already planning to get a new video done and we won't have these kinds of issues. So to answer your question, yes, you're only as good as your recent release. And just like you don't get a second chance to make a first impression, what about the follow-up video? We've had clients who think, oh, we put so much time and effort into the first video, we can just call in the second video. No, can't do that.
No, it's consistency, right? Yeah, it has to be. And like I run a local artist management company, and so I work with local artists on booking at venues. I do a lot of video kind of promo for them and social media management and those types of things. Kind of the same things that you offer on a much smaller scale. And one of the things I had to figure out at the beginning was how to be selective with the people that I chose to work with, because everybody, like you said in the beginning, a lot of people are not their first goal or their first skill set doesn't lie with social media. It doesn't lie with content creation. It lies with creating music, and they don't really know a bunch of the other stuff. So I had a large pool of people that wanted to use my resources, and then whenever people started reaching out, I started going, "Oh, you're not ready for even promoting what you have right now." And I had to figure out a way to say that in a way that's not dismissive. It's not saying you're never going to get there. It's just saying right now you're not there, and I would love to help you get there, but there's some certain things that you're going to have to figure out before you're ready for content creation, before you're ready to grow this thing, before you're ready to put eyes on this product. Because in today's day and age, when people have zero attention span, like whatsoever, you have to capture them immediately. You have 5 seconds whenever you show them anything to get them to go, okay, because there's so much stuff to look at. They're just going to click away. So how do you, with the work that you do there at HIP, how do you adapt to that new attention span deficit? How have you adapted your business model to kind of continue to, showcase your talent in the best way?
Tom Petty said it quite eloquently. Don't bore us, get to the chorus.
That's a great quote. That is a great quote.
Videos, they have to hit right out of the box, because you are correct, Dave. The average human attention span has dwindled to less than that of a goldfish.
Yeah.
Quite often, you've seen them. A video feels, or the artist feels, the necessity for a 25, 30-second opening part of the music video with no music.
Yeah.
Like setting up the video.
Yeah, you can't have that anymore.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Don't do that.
No. I'll tell you this, and I'll let you finish answer that. One of the podcasts that you were on that I listened to today, it had a 13-minute intro before you started talking. 13 minutes. He did like 4 promos for other things that he was doing. He did a couple master classes that he was offering, and then 13. I just kept on hitting skip, and I'm like, I got to get to the point where Andy starts talking. And I'm like, 13 minutes? That's your podcast, and 45 seconds of that was an intro song. I'm like, nobody cares about your intro song. Like, it's just music. So yeah, it's the entertainment value, right? You have to retain them. So do you find yourself, like with YouTube Shorts or those types of things, are you making shorter content? Or are you still making the full length content, but game planning how to make it more engaging just right out of the bat?
No, absolutely. For many cases, what we will do is, because so many of our clients are return clients, and because experience is a hard teacher, she gives the test first and the lessons afterwards. We'll hear the song ahead of time. And even sometimes before they've shot the video. And we talk about how you really want to grab people's attention right out of the box. And on my web series podcast, we had Jim Peterick. He was a guest on Hip to the Scene. And though he is not a household name in the world of rock and roll music, he is and will always be the guy who wrote Eye of the Tiger.
Oh, wow.
He wrote Eye of the Tiger.
Wow.
But 12 years earlier, at the age of 19, he had a band called the Ides of March. and he brought the world vehicle.
Hmm.
Vehicle. Dun, dun,
Oh
dun, dun,
yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Number two, 1970.
Hmm.
The only reason it didn't go to number one because of Hey Jude,
Oh
which
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
The Beatles' swan song.
Yeah.
So he says in the interview, he's like, if you really want to catch people's attention, lead off with the horns. And he was really the first cat there in the early 70s to stumble upon that. It's like, you want to catch people's attention. Horns, baby, horns. The horns catch your attention.
Oh yeah.
No doubt about it. So, obviously, Chicago, the band, they took that tip. Earth, Wind, and Fire, they took that tip. Countless bands during the 70s were leaning on the horns. So, yes, you absolutely want to get out of the gate and grab their attention. And you always have your friends and your family and your bandmates and your focus groups, go to them.
Mm.
They're your best friends when it comes to creating awesome songcraft, because sometimes they'll look at it, on the periphery outside of your little bubble, and they can sometimes provide those aha moments that could make all the difference.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I always say to people that like my favorite people in my life are my friends that tell me when stuff I do sucks. Because I have a million people just tell me how great I'm doing. Like whenever I'm out performing, they tell me how good it is. They, if I record something or I put out a podcast, I get a lot of people that are like, that was awesome. I really enjoyed it. Whenever my friends reach out that are like, the audio really sucked. Or, hey, you said the word 65 times in this interview. Those moments help me improve and grow and learn how to retain people way better than the positive feedback stuff does. So, you're going to have friends that tell you everything you do is sucks. Maybe they're not your friends. But, if you have a friend that tells you this sucks and this is why it sucks, or this is not going to resonate the way you want it to. Like recently I had a guy tell me, he's like, everything you're putting together with music videos and all that. He's like, it's, you're putting together music videos. He's like, but try just change everything and look at everything as if you're trying to consume it. Just change it around to you are the consumer. You don't know anything about what goes into it. You don't know anything about production. You don't know anything about anything. Does it entertain you? Show it to 5 of your friends that they're not in this field. Does it entertain them? And then find out if it doesn't. A lot of them will be like, well, I don't know. There was just something weird. Like it was a little dark in the beginning. And so you'll understand like an outside perspective. And even with social media posts, I know you offer social media and marketing as well. How do you, I know on your Facebook page, you post 3 times a day, 4 times a day, just on the regular. As far as social media, do you have any kind of, I hate using the word tips and tricks, but do you have any kind of advice as to somebody who's trying to grow their social media, especially like I have the solo musicians, it's pretty much who listens to this podcast. If they're trying to grow their social media, what is something that you would say is probably one of the biggest things you can do to grow your social media besides hiring Hip? That would be number 1. And then number 2, what would number 2 be?
Well, when it comes to social media, the artist really needs to appreciate that they're throwing a party online, and people aren't going to come to your party if it looks lame. Obviously, they're going to come if they see a lot of other people there, and that they see that there's activity and there's a general sense of excitement and passion. What we always tell our clients is that you really need to appreciate that not only do people come because they like the music, they want to come to your online platforms because they genuinely, authentically want to like you. So if you're going to be like the Wizard of Oz and hide behind the curtain, and not be able to put your inhibitions on the back burner. You snooze, you lose. You have to be there for your people, and you have to be there regularly. The three words we share constantly are consistent, sustained, promotion. That is the key to success: consistent, sustained, promotion. Those three words, write them down, because the issue with a lot of the best is they get tired or they get distracted, or they think that because the marketing cycle is over, they can just go dark for a couple weeks. No, it's just like anything else. If you see that the excitement and the passion and everything that you visit a site for, nobody's updated it, you're going to go check out other things. So the advice I give to all the people who tune into you, Dave, is banked content. In fact, one of the reasons why HIP has always got great, fresh looking new content is because we're creating it sometimes a week ahead of time, 2 weeks ahead of time. Obviously, there are the things we shoot uh, on the day, like, we just had a artist added to BET Gospel, so we're going to do that. We just heard about it. Or if someone got nominated for a Grammy, we're going to want to announce that straight away. Or if, in many cases, an artist has got an exclusive online world premiere, we want that out not more than a half an hour after the premiere so that people know to go to check it out. So, banked content can be your friend. And obviously, there are the clients who will uh, decide in their own brain that their content is not worthy of anyone's attention. And that is the worst possible approach to all this you can have. No one gives a rat's back end about what I'm going to be doing tonight prior to the gig. No, if you're going to a gig, tell people you're at the gig. If you're going on tour, do a tour diary, because remember, your fans and your friends, they live vicariously through you, because you're doing something special. You're doing something that only a handful of people can do, which is get in front of people and sing your heart out and dig down into the deepest, darkest chasms of your soul and expunge your guts for public display. And then you always got to worry about people like rejecting it. It's like, man, your band's not that good. What the hell? And your gosh darn bass player, he was so out of tune that every song sounded all. Yeah. I mean, obviously, we don't want to hear that, but that is why you go back and listen to your first record and you're like, oh, facepalm, yikes. But then you realize sometimes when you're first starting out something, you're not going to be fabulous right out of the box, but you're going to continue to improve and hone your song craft, and you'll continue to get better. Wow. I mean, it's the same in any line of work. The more you do it, the more experience you have, the better you get. So my advice with social media is you're throwing a party. You want people to come to the door, and you don't want them looking in through the door and not seeing you. And who are these people? This looks lame as hell. Man, I'm out of here. I didn't even want to come in the first place. But if they come to the door and you're literally at the door greeting them, showing them the warm and fuzzy, showing them appreciation for being there, the food's in the dining room, the keg is out the back door. If they're feeling that warm and fuzzy, you take a potential, perhaps casual kind of fan, and you turn them into a super fan.
Yeah.
And we all know it's the super fans. Man, they're like you're scrubbing bubbles. They do the work so you don't have to. I remember going to high school in 1978. I'm like, you got to hear the Talking Heads. The Talking Heads. And they look at you funny. What the hell? Talking Heads. What is What is oh, is that awful band that I saw on Saturday Night Live where the lead singer's veins were sticking out of his neck? They were terrible, horrible. I'm like, no, no. You got to go listen to more songs about buildings and food. It will change your life. Same thing with Elvis Costello. I heard Less Than Zero on the radio, Philadelphia radio station, WYSP. And it was weird. I was studying my algebra homework for high school. I'm like, what is this? What is this? And they came on, they said it was some guy named Elvis Costello. And I immediately thought, that's the stupidest name ever. Who takes the name of the most famous, iconic American musical legend and calls themselves Elvis? This guy's going to be a tool, no doubt about it. But then you go to the wall-to-wall sound at King of Prussia Plaza, and you're like, do you have a Elvis? Oh, yeah, it just came in. And you go home and you put it on the turntable. And you know that feeling when you're like getting ready to put the needle down on the record. And then there's that like 3 to 4 second, anticipation moment. And the adrenaline is rushing. And then, boom, it comes in. And there's your super fan. And you can't wait for the next record to come out. And then the record after that. And after that. So, yes, you got to realize every single person who gets anywhere near your music, anywhere near your songcraft, anywhere near your social media, anywhere near your YouTube channel, kind of follow every lead, right, Dave? You got to follow every lead.
Oh, yeah.
That person could be the person who is the big dealio in their local music market that everybody goes to and says, yeah, he's the music guy. He'll tell you what's cool and hip and what you should be listening to at the moment. And hell, you want to be in that guy's mouth. People telling you, yeah, you got to. It's so easy. All you have to do is freaking show up.
Yeah, and be consistent. And you never know what it's. Yeah, you never know what it's going to be. Like that's the thing that's I try to drive home to anybody that I do consulting with is you never know. You have no clue. You might think that you know that this video or that video or this post or that post is going to be, oh, I spent so much time producing this video. This will be the thing that propels me into the stratosphere. And then, like, just from personal experience, I've spent, I don't know how many, hundreds, thousands of hours doing video or content creation. The video that I have on my YouTube channel that got the most views out of any video ever is from a year after I started playing guitar. It's a static camera with an SM58 in front of my mouth at a desk playing a cover of Dropkick Murphys' Rose Tattoo. It's got 60,000 views on YouTube, and all my other videos kind of fail in comparison to that. And I've spent so much time doing those other ones, and I'm like, it doesn't matter how much time you spend on something. It is, how engaging is this going to be for other people? Or is this going to make people want to watch your other stuff? Is this something that's already being done by somebody else? And if it is, what are you doing differently to make it stand out? And I think that if you go into content creation or you go into social media or you go into those types of things with an attitude like this is a tool, I'm going to use this to my advantage. How do I use it to my advantage? What do I need to know? Like, what metrics do I need to know to be able to grow this? It's a necessary part of the business. And if you don't want to invest in that, your business, your career as a musician will benefit greatly if you hire it out to somebody who will invest the time or has the knowledge, because you can't grow your social media if you don't know how to do it. And if you don't want to spend the time learning how to do it, you've got to hire somebody, because that is how you get your music in front of people that you don't know, that you physically don't come in contact with. I tell people all the time, your content that you put online is working for you whenever you're not playing the show. If you're not on stage, you're not online, that content's still there. People still have access to it. So it's so important to just create that and just put it out there. And I'm also a bit of a hypocrite because if you look at my social media, half the time I'm like, well, here's where I'm at this weekend. That'll be my only post for the week. And it's like, I understand the value in regular, consistent posting. Like during COVID, I did live streams all the time from my house. And I went from, having, 400, 500 followers on my Facebook account to like 4,000 almost in 6 months. And had people, a couple hundred people tuning into live streams each week. And it was just because they knew I was going to be there. It's like it was a consistency thing. So I think that's a great thing to kind of promote to people. So I got 2 more questions for you. Then I'm going to let you get out of here for today.
Dave.
So what are some common mistakes that you see that people kind of go through whenever they submit a music video to you for consideration, for you to do a promo, like to do promo for it? Is there anything that sticks out that's like a common thing that people are like you mentioned earlier about it taking way too long to get into the video? So is there anything that's kind of sticks out as far as production wise that you look for that might be something that's like, okay, I have to tell people all the time to adjust this?
Yes. We've done some of the best urban hip hop music videos known to man. Everything from Flage, who's just burning it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she might be an incredible collegiate basketball player, but she is one heck of a rapper.
Yeah.
Or Method Man or T-Pain or, if you watch those videos, they've learned, okay, I'll get the video. And within the first 30 seconds, firearms.
Oh, yeah.
Firearms.
Yeah.
Sometimes, Dave, they're pointing it right at the camera.
Just
ridiculous.
Yeah.
Number 2, the old Mary Jane smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Leave the Mary Jane at home. Don't bring the Mary Jane because that's not going to help you.
Yeah.
Or you've seen it too. The objectification of women.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That's a no-go. All 3 of those are not going to get you on a YouTube playlist. They're not going to get you on any kind of cable television or any of those. I mean, there's ethics and standards, or what is the committee? There's a committee, right?
Standards and practices.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to flag that every day of the week. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great to know. So no guns, leave the weed at home, and not on the video, and take it easy on the ladies. Right?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Let's put them on the pedestal where they deserve.
I 100% agree. I love that. So, and we talked a little bit in the beginning of this about the, thousands of clients that you have, and, the artists like the Lumineers, the B-52s. You've done stuff for Flogging Molly. There was one thing that really stuck out for me when I was reading through your list of artists and your actual podcast that I had listened to, the Johnny Cash Hurt video. Now, I was in Nashville last year, I believe it was last year, and we toured the Johnny Cash Museum. We went through, we looked at everything, and there behind the Johnny Cash barbecue venue, they have that Johnny Cash Museum, and at the end of it, they have the chair that he sat in for the Hurt video, and they have the Hurt video playing like on a TV right behind that. And when I heard you were involved in it, I wanted to ask you what your role was in pitching that. How did you go about pitching that to playlists? If it wasn't gaining any traction, how did you increase traction on that video and get it to, I mean, it's one of the best videos that I've ever seen. And I love the rawness of Johnny in that. It's the end of life. Johnny has been weathered, and you can see it. It's in the video. It's like a documentary of the end of Johnny. So how did you come across that? What were your feelings with the video, and how did you go about promoting that?
The catch-22 when you start any new endeavor, especially a new business, when there's marketing involved, is nobody's going to hire you unless you've worked with quality artists.
Mm.
But how do you get quality artists if no one's going to hire you?
Mm.
So we were 27 months into our infancy, and it's really difficult when you start out because one of the big questions is, okay, sport, who have you worked with who I might know?
Mm.
Well, I should tell you, we began the company in the year 2000, October, and that's been our main goal here through 2001 and 2002. Obviously, 9/11, 2001 did not help us.
Mm.
Uh, that was a true sick trip for the entire universe.
Mm.
But you got to grind. You got to follow every lead. You have to be what I call pleasantly persistent. So Lost Highway had always been one of my favorite labels, always had. And this was back in the time when you actually called people.
Mm.
You actually
Was it?
had a conversation converse with people. That's how we did it. So the call comes from Lost Highway out of the blue, and they say, we've got a new video, but we're not quite sure what to do with it. And man, my heart's pumping.
Mm.
I'm like, doesn't matter who it is. I need this. Please, please, please. Anyway, so they go on, and she sounded a bit like they really weren't sure what to do. So I asked, well, who is the artist that you're considering having us promote? Well, it's Johnny Cash. So my jaw hit the floor.
Yeah.
Legendary, iconic Man in Black. If not the most important American musical figure of our lifetime, certainly in the top 3, at least for me. Like Johnny Cash. Well, wow. And then the problem is, Andy, is that the in the video, it looks like he's going to die.
Mm.
Like, oh, man. Mm-hmm. Trying to be empathetic to their concerns.
Mm-hmm.
And what's more, it's a 9 Inch Nails cover. Like, okay, send us the video. This was back in the day when they'd actually overnight a VHS tape.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
So I gathered the crew. We watched it. Once we had wiped a tear out of our eyes, I called back Lost Highway. I said, we really want to help you with this. And I remember offering up a very, very reasonable, friendly pricing for a 10-week marketing campaign, and got the call back. Said, no, this has been green lit. You're good to go. And of course, this is back in the day where you have to get the master, like 1 inch tape, right? Have to run through the machine. What was it, like 47 3/4 inch tapes?
Oh,
yes, 3/4 inch tapes. That was the thing. I think 37 beta SPs, right? That's how we did it. So, wow. And everything had to be closed captioned.
Oh, yeah.
For anyone thinking, oh, I'm going to just send out the video on my own. Just remember, it's got to be closed captioned. Nobody's going to program a video unless it's closed captioned. And we hit the ground. We hit the ground running. And it should be known that the way we felt after first watching that video, This is what you want to aspire to. In other words, when you are done watching your video, if you have no other visceral urge than to watch it again, then you might have an issue. In other words, that's what is going to make the video pop, is that it's so memorable and so jaw-droppingly great the first time you watch it. You just, I got to watch that again. That happens all the time, and that's what you aspire to. So the Johnny Cash video would have won all of the MTV Music Awards, Video Music Awards in 2003. The show was slated for September 10th. Johnny shifted off this mortal coil 12 days earlier. Dave, he was even slated to perform, even in that frail state of his. But the Lord took him away from us. There was probably a reason. Maybe he would have embarrassed himself on that big stage. Who knows? But that was the video that we needed. Because to go back to the Catch-22, how am I going to get Sub Pop to hire me? How am I going to get Polyvinyl to hire me? How am I going to get Barsook and Merge to hire me, and Drive Through Records and Hopeless and all these labels at the time, if I don't have a marquee video I can say I actually promoted? And that Johnny Cash Hurt video was that video.
Man, that is a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for agreeing to come on the podcast today and explain a little bit about HIP. If people want to get in touch with you, which I want everyone to get in touch with you, I think that you offer a lot of very good services. And I scoured the internet looking for bad reviews, and I didn't find any. So you're doing something that's very beneficial, that many people find extremely beneficial for their lives. So if people want to reach out to you for social media marketing, if they want to send you a video that doesn't have guns, weed, or objectified women in it, how do they get a hold of you, Andy?
It is HIP, HIP video, video, promo, promo.com. You can learn all about us there. I'm the one-man sales crew, Dave.
I love it.
In a world where most of these marketing companies, not only do you not speak to the person in charge, at many, you don't speak to anyone.
Yeah, nobody. Yeah.
Nobody.
Yeah.
So 732-613-1779. That is a direct line to Andy. I encourage people to call. But if you want to email, you can email us. We would encourage you to do so. But we should definitely connect, because whether you have a music video or not, chances are you've got a song and you've got social media. Or maybe you're thinking about a video, but you have budgetary constraints. Well, we have HIP Video Productions. We're making lyric videos for our clients all the time. And lyric videos do pack a punch, because the human brain's set up, the synapses. If you start reading something, as long as it's not a encyclopedia or a Tolstoy novel, you want to get to the end. So even if you don't have a video, my team and I could make a kick-ass, wonderfully crafted, fully realized lyric video for you. And this way we would be able to do a marketing campaign and really help you level up, get to the next level. So I encourage anybody watching, do not be bashful. Remember, I'm just like you. I played my first rock and roll show in 1980. Dave, how many times have I wished back when we first started in the early 80s, there had been someone there who could have given us the sage wisdom and advice so that we didn't fall prey to the fake, phony frauds and the liars, fakers, fairy tale makers. They were everywhere. You've heard the stories
Oh
about
yeah.
how people prey on the naivete of up and coming independent artists. So just, and like Dave said, it's like we have spent the last 2+ decades, we're not a subsidiary of a bigger company. We don't answer to any higher company or profits or stocks. We're only beholden to the people we serve. And gosh, if you go to the client list like you did, we've been so blessed to get to work with so many awesome people. And who knows, whoever you are, if you're watching this transmission, you could be the next big feather in my cap. And there's only one way for that to happen, and that is for us to get to work.
I love that. I love that. I love what you're doing, Andy. I'm sure I'm going to try and connect with you in the future. I have quite a few projects that could use some promo work as well. That is above and beyond my pay grade, and I'm glad to know that you're out there and a good resource and somebody that's trustworthy, because I know that I'm not in my own arena here in saying that I get hundreds of emails a week telling me that they can get me Spotify, on people's Spotify playlists and on YouTube, and we can do ranking and this and that. And it's always, there's so many of those people out there that just want you to say yes, take your money, and then not deliver or give you fake followers, which mean nothing. So I love the fact that you have this organic organization, and this way that you've moved on from being a musician to helping musicians and to facilitating that. Because as a musician, like me having an artist company, I am 100% pro musician. Like I don't do things that are in any negative, have any negative effects on musicians. And I feel that same thing from you, being from that world. I feel like you're like, yeah, I just have the knowledge and I want to help as many people as I can. I have no other intention than that. So that's a beautiful thing. So awesome. All right.
No, and if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. It's really fun. I mean, I get to talk about what I love the most is music, and I get to, as we've done today, you've heard some of my stories, because let's face it, in the end, you are your story.
That's what you got.
And someone's got to tell your story, and you're not the person to tell your story.
Mm-mm.
You got to find someone on the periphery who digs the cut of your music and jib, who has done it thousands of times. Get them to tell your story. It's going to be much more like beneficial to you, because you've seen it, Dave. Nowadays, it's not just the music. Is there a story here? Is this a cool story? And let's face it, everybody, it's 20% the great art you create, the great songs you produce, the great visual content you release. 20. I'm being generous.
That's generous, yeah.
20%, 80% marketing.
80%, yeah. Because if you
is
can't,
that about right, or is it?
I think that's perfect, because if you can't get it in front of people, it does not matter how good it is at all. And I mean, it doesn't matter at all, because a lot of my friends that have incredible music, I'm like, you have 2,000 followers on your social media. You put out 7 albums in the last 10 years. Why is that? Like, you have to, if you marketed this, you would never have to work at Amazon again. Like, what are you doing with your life?
Right.
Yeah. So marketing is the key. 80%, I would say that is perfect.
Okay. So, and it's not always laziness.
No.
Quite often it is just like the old Bible verse, many perish due to lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
All you need is the knowledge. And I get it. You were a terrible student in high school and you don't like the whole book learning stuff. Why put yourself through that torture? You don't need to go through that. Just hire someone that can share with you the sage wisdom and life experience that is not only going to save you a lot of time and effort, needless to say, your monetary resources, but it's going to save you a lot of mental anguish, because we've all been there. It's like, here I am busting my back end to create this great, I mean, the world needs to see this. And I feel like I'm spinning my wheels. Well, that's when it's time to think, okay, there's got to be a better way to get this to the masses. And that's why marketing is so important. And I'm appreciative that most independent creatives, they don't have a marketing degree. And like you said, there are so many people out there that are ready to dupe you and snooker you. It's the worst. So this has been great, because if anybody watching you, Dave, and have been a fan of yours for so long, they watch this. It's like, well, if Dave is giving Andy props, what could it hurt?
It's always worth it. It's always worth it to try it.
Home.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who gives their number out on the podcast, I'm always like, it's one thing to say something. It's one thing to get out there and be like, I'll do this for you. I can do this. I can do that. And then you reach out to that person and you get, this is the secretary. You're never going to speak to that person. It's another thing for somebody to be like, I own the company. I want to help you. Here's my cell phone number. Give me a call. And that is huge, especially in today's day and age with 5,000, promotion companies out there, and 4,900 of them are just ridiculous. So no, I really appreciate you being on, and hopefully we'll get you on again at some point down the road. Thank you for your time,
Dave. Grateful, absolutely thrilled that we were able to come together and meet each other, and that I've been able to share this time with you. You really are doing amazing work. You're helping the people. You're giving voice to the voiceless, all these talented people who are just looking for a leg up. And there you are, and you're fighting hard. And I get it. Doing what you do here is not easy. It is not just a 1, 2, 3 lickety split kind of thing. I think anybody who's a fan of Dave should know he is busting his back end here, and he's putting a lot of work in to help y'all. So show him the appreciation he deserves.
Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you again soon.
All right, Dave. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Very much appreciate you having me on today.
Thank you for tuning in today. Your support keeps the music flowing. Every note and what I play means the world just to hear you know it. I'll see you next time. Don't stray by. Your love is our shining star.